All right, well, we're leaving Mount Rainier National Park. We were only here for one night, so we kind of had the afternoon and the morning. We weren't real sure how much time we could spend here with the young family, and turns out we were right. But basically, this was the conditions. We're leaving the Paradise Visitor Center. It was really foggy, so we haven't seen Mount Rainier yet, and we won't, at least not this trip. So it's kind of a disappointment, but also kind of a reality check that, like, that's what you're dealing with in these places. This is not, a restaurant that always opens at a certain time and closes at a certain time and always has your favorite dish. This is nature, and there's a lot of variance. And I thought maybe instead of doing a review of Mount Rainier, which would be quite short since we just did a 1 mile hike this morning in the snow, which was still fun, but maybe just a quick explanation. So we're on a 55-day national park tour. Most of the lodgings are campsites in the national parks that we booked the moment they were available. In some cases 6 months ahead, 3 months ahead, 1 month ahead. So we did everything quote unquote right. We weren't behind schedule. We planned way ahead early, but lots of things have changed. So as an example, we had 6 nights in Sequoia National Park, booked like exactly 5 seconds after the campsites became available, and due to record snowfall, they closed that campground, or at least our campsite in the campground. So like 2 weeks before we left, all of a sudden we had to scramble like we were total newbies to find something to do. So that was one thing. Then when we got to Sequoia and Kings Canyon, because of the record snowfall and road damage, basically the whole Kings Canyon section was closed down to Zumwalt Meadow, so on and so forth. So we couldn't do anything down there. The weather in Sequoia was super cloudy and stormy and foggy, so we really didn't get to enjoy Hume Lake like we had hoped. And the road just south of the visitor center was closed. The big tree museum area was closed, along with Crystal Cave. So like all these things that we wanted to do weren't available. Here in Rainier, we had a night or two at Cougar Rock, and due to the weather, they canceled our reservation, which is why we're staying outside the park. And then they opened the campgrounds back up, and we didn't get to it in time. And we had already booked with a non-refundable. So, what were the other plans that changed quite a bit, Shell? I was going to mention a few other ones.
We didn't get the fiery furnace hike.
Yeah, we didn't get the fiery furnace hike in Arches, even though we were like trying to book it 3 minutes after it opened. We didn't get our first choice for Balcony House in Cliff Palace, even though we were ready to book right away. We ended up getting like our 3rd or 4th choice. We had the weather ruin a couple hikes, I want to say, for us. The other thing is, like, our family and kids, they're not always totally in the mood for certain hikes when we get to certain places, because they're exhausted from what we've been doing. And I'm trying to think of what else got changed. There was construction in the Redwoods, which changed our plans. Crater Lake had record snowfall, so almost nothing could be done in Crater Lake. Oh, in Olympic, Hurricane Ridge, there was a fire at the visitor center, so that was completely closed off. So I guess my point to share is you can be good planners like we were, and you also have to be prepared for some disappointment, because fires, roads, primarily I would say the weather, can just completely obliterate your plans. And yeah, you just have to roll with the punches and realize that's part of the fun. And if you're expecting that and prepared for that, then it's a lot more fun when it comes. Hope that helps.